All right. Tommy, you ready? All right. Let's go ahead and get started with the Livingston Parish Council meeting. Today being September the 19th, 2024, regular meeting. Miss Sandy, it's 6 o'clock. Miss Sandy, you want to call the roll to make sure we have a quorum? Let's knock that out first because we got a few things different tonight. Go ahead.
Mr. Wascom.
Here.
Mr. Goff.
Here.
Mr. Coates.
Here.
Mr. Watts.
Here.
Mr. Erdy.
Here.
Mr. Mangus.
Here.
Mr. Shavers.
Here.
Ms. Sandifer. Here. Mr. Taylor.
Here.
We're all present.
All right. Let's, I believe Mr. Dean Coates is the one that had the invocation tonight. As our custom, we normally lead off with the prayer. Mr. Dean, you want to?
Miss Sandy, would you do me the honor?
Where's your iPad? Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come before you tonight and we acknowledge our need for you, Lord. We pray that your will be done, Lord, lest everything we do in vain. We ask for your peace, your unity, and most of all, we need your wisdom. Please watch over our parish, our state, and our nation, because we need you like never before, as in this day as we do now. So we promise to give you all the praise because you alone are worthy. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Sandy.
Hold on. I'd like to ask Mr. Steve Bernard to come to the podium real quick.
Y'all ready?
Before you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, you got any comments you want to make?
I sure do. Thank you for asking. Steve Bernard, 12480 Pendarvis Lane, great city of Walker. I just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to thank Sandy Teal for her years of service, and I really appreciate what you do. That's it.
All right. Anything else?
No? Oh, it's National International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Y'all ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steve. National Talk Like a Pirate Day, and I believe today is National Pawpaw Day, of which I am 3. So I'm excited about that. Real quick, just check your cell phones to make sure they're off. And listen, before we get started with the council meeting, we will have public input. So if any item comes up on an agenda that you want to speak, please raise your hand. I'll be more than happy to acknowledge you. We'll get you to the microphone, give you a few minutes to talk, try to limit it to 3 and try not to repeat a whole bunch. But before we get into the council meeting, we are required by the state legislation to have a public hearing on these specific ordinances that are due. So before we get started, I'd like to open up a public hearing. Miss Sandy is going to read these ordinances by title, and this allows everyone the ability to officially have a public hearing. Now, we'll have comment when those items come up, but this will be the official time to let everyone speak. But in order to get started, Miss Sandy, would you read these ordinances by title?
The first one is ordinance number 24-15. It's an ordinance setting the millage rates as adjusted for the tax year of 2024. This pertains to the library.
The library tax.
The second one is 24-16. It's an ordinance to levy adjusted millage rates after assessment and roll forward the millage rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum rate for the year 2024. Again, this pertains to the library.
To the library tax, yes.
The next one is public hearing for 24-21. It's an ordinance setting the millage rates as adjusted for the tax year 2024. This pertains to the parish.
To the parish millage tax.
The second after that is ordinance number 24-22. It's an ordinance to levy adjusted millage rates after reassessment and roll forward the millage rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum rate for the tax year 2024. Again, this is for the parish of Livingston. Proposed ordinance 24-26 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 subdivision regulations, Article 4, subdivisions without improvements, Section 125-51 submittals, and Sections 125-52 procedures with subdivisions without improvements by deleting the sections in their entirety of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish. Then there's proposed ordinance 24-27. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 1, General Provisions, Section 1-8, General Penalty for violation of code, separate offenses of the Code of Ordinances in and for the Parish of Livingston. The next is proposed ordinance 24-28. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 74, Vegetation, Article 4, Grass, Weeds, Brush, Debris, and Trash by amending Section 74-89, Notice to Abate Nuisance, Penalty for Noncompliance, Section 74-91, Right of Parish to Abate Nuisance, Recover Costs from Owner, Section 74-92, Extensions of Time in which to abate nuisance or health hazard, Section 74-93, Refusal of Certified Mail, and Section 74-95, Administration and Enforcement of the Code of Ordinances in and for the Parish of Livingston.
All right, thank you. I know this is a lot of ordinances, and there's probably a lot of them that people are going to want to speak on, but we're required by law to have this a public hearing. So I now declare this a public hearing. Is anyone here to speak for or against these ordinances? Please understand we will also give people comment or a chance to speak on them individually when they come up at the council meeting, but we're required by law to open it up. Is anyone here to speak for or against these ordinances? Come give us your name and address, please.
Abby Crosby, 19866 LA Highway 42, Livingston, Louisiana. We were informed this morning, I serve on the Library Board of Control, that there was a mishap with our millage, and it was supposed to be set for 7.75, and because some paperwork wasn't filed correctly, we're now down to 7.53. So I know you've been in on that, so I just wanted to make that noted.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is anyone else to speak for or against these specific ordinances? None being, I will hereby close the public hearing and continue on with the Livingston Parish Council meeting. The first item on the agenda is to adopt the minutes of the August 22nd, 2024 regular council meeting. Those minutes have already been put together, I believe, and been emailed out. I know I've looked at them. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Motion by Mr. Mangus. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor say yes, and maybe vote on your iPads as well. All right. All in favor say yes? Yes. Any opposed? That motion carried. Next item, Parish President's Report. We had a couple things. One is adopt a resolution from the Livingston Parish Council to authorize the name of a fallen Livingston Parish veteran, Eugene Selders, to be added to the Livingston Parish Veteran Wall. Mr. Bruiser, did you want to give us a quick update on that, or?
How are you doing today?
Doing very well. What's your name and address?
Thomas Bryson, 31484 Highway 22 in Springfield. About a month and a half ago, Mr. Jim Gilbert came to me and gave me a name, just a name, Eugene Selders. Eugene was killed in Pleiku, Vietnam in 1970, and his place of entry was Independence, Tangipahoa. Well, he had been given some information by Miss Pearl Davis that he was in fact a Livingston Parish resident and had attended East Livingston Parish High School back when he graduated. So we got to digging into it. So over a 2-week period, we found out, yes, he was a Livingston Parish resident, raised up Turkey Creek Road on what is now T. Selders Lane. He had siblings. He has a son. So his name was inadvertently left off of the Vietnam list on the War Memorial because of the fact that his home of record was Independence, Tangipahoa. Y'all know that up above Highway 40 or up around Highway 40, all those addresses are Independence. Some below Albany are Hammond addresses, even though they're in Livingston Parish. So we went through and looked at it. We got a letter from his brother and had it notarized and all this, determining that he was from Livingston Parish. If you don't mind, I'm going to go on and read the resolution.
If you feel.
And we'll turn it to you guys.
All right.
A resolution by the Livingston Parish Council to authorize the name of a fallen Livingston Parish veteran, Eugene Selders, to be added to the Livingston Parish Veteran Wall. Whereas the Livingston Parish Veteran Wall was constructed in 1982 by the Livingston Parish Police Jury in order to give others the opportunity to pay their heartfelt respect and express their deepest gratitude to those from Livingston Parish who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. And whereas, since the birth of our great nation, many Livingston Parish men and women have served this country in the United States Armed Forces and have given their lives defending the principles of human freedom and democracy. And whereas the Livingston Parish Veteran Wall was built to honor all Livingston Parish veterans who left their last blood on foreign or domestic lands. And whereas Private First Class Eugene Selders, born April 4th, 1949, met with a casualty on June 4th, 1970 in Pleiku, Vietnam while serving in the United States Army. And whereas Private Eugene Selders resided on Selders Road, a part of Livingston Parish, although Selders Road had a tangible parish address, causing its name to be overlooked as a citizen of Livingston Parish when the Livingston Parish Veteran Wall was first erected. And whereas Livingston Parish wishes to honor Eugene Selders' sacrifice for Livingston Parish citizens by adding his name to the Livingston Parish Veterans Wall under the Vietnam War heading. Now therefore be it resolved that Livingston Parish government authorizes Seal Monument Company at no charge to the parish government to engrave the name of Private First Class Eugene Selders, a confirmed resident of Livingston Parish, into the parish veteran wall under Vietnam War, so we never forget his sacrifice during war.
Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Billy Taylor. Is there a second? Mr. John Mangus. Is anyone here from his family?
Yes, sir. We've got all of the ones sitting here are from his family.
When we call for the vote, would it be asking too much to have y'all stand? I normally don't do this, but if you'll just stand for a second. Miss Sandy, would you call for the vote, please?
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Goff.
Yes.
Mr. Coots.
Yes.
Mr. Watts.
Yes.
Mr. Erdy.
Yes.
Mr. Mangus.
Yes.
Mr. Shavers.
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
I'd like to offer everyone a round of applause. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get down there. We'll take a quick picture then.
While everybody is going down and getting ready for this picture, I can't pass up the opportunity to share with y'all that the gentleman that made that motion was also from the Army. So I know he would never share that, but from one Army guy to another Army guy, I'm sure that meant a lot to him to be able to make that motion.
Let's look this way. We'll get
There we go. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pardon? Brandon, give me 1 minute. I got one more presentation, then I'll get you up. Is that okay? Thank y'all so much. We have another presentation real quick. I have a gentleman here, Mr. Matt Belser. If you would come up, and I believe he's running for office, and as a public service information, I'd love for you to give us your name and address and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the Parish Council, my name is Matthew Belser. I currently serve as an Assistant DA with the District Attorney's Office. I've been doing that for the last 14 years. I have been a resident of Livingston Parish since 2012, was here during the 2016 flood, actually served upstairs in the OEC during that time and helped President Leighton Ricks at the time and the sheriff as we work through that. In addition to my duties as a prosecutor, my specialty has always been crimes against children. So I currently work with Zero Abuse Project to help develop curriculum, to help train graduate programs, graduate students in child abuse studies. It receives a federal grant to help prepare that. Currently working on a law school curriculum that will be made available to law schools throughout the nation. And so I'm just wanted to introduce myself to the council, answer any questions anybody may have, and make myself available to you if I can.
And what seat are you running for?
It is the new seat that has come open. It's a Division L, just created by the last legislative session. That election will be November 5th.
So it's a district? Or
District Court, yes.
District Court, District L. Any questions from anyone else? Mr. Gibson, you got all the information you need? Matthew, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you getting out and informing us and informing the people in this parish. And I'm sure you probably agree with us. People need to get out and vote.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Matthew. All righty. Next up, Parish President presentation would be the adoption of a resolution to proclaim September 2024 as Suicide Prevention Month. Mr. Brandon Browning, I believe, wants to be the spokesman for this specific resolution.
I've got somebody much better than me, but I'm gonna, if you don't mind, if the council doesn't mind, I'm gonna call up Shariva Lewis. She is the clinic manager at our Florida Parishes Human Services Center in Denham Springs. She's gonna give you all a little word, and then I'll read the proclamation.
Thank you so much. That'll be fine.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shariva Lewis. I'm the clinic manager for Florida Parish Human Services Authority, the Denham Springs Clinic. I am one of 5 clinic managers underneath Florida Parishes. And we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of word about Suicide Awareness Month and why we feel that it's special to us. Suicide doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a race, a name, a gender. And at this time, it's a public crisis, which makes it a Livingston Parish crisis. Suicide is very preventable, and it requires much more than just intervention. It requires prevention, it requires intervention, and it requires postvention because it affects not only the individuals, it affects the communities, and it affects their families. So if you guys weren't aware, in Louisiana alone, according to Family Health Louisiana, 26.9% of youth seriously considered suicide. 19.5% made a plan, and 17.6% attempted. We have some of those youth in our parish here. So our plans to help as Florida Parish Human Services Authority and Denham Springs Behavioral Health is to train communities to recognize those mental health crises, both in adults and children, to expand access to suicide care, to create protective environments and reduce access to lethal means at-risk populations, and to strengthen economic security. At Florida Parishes, we have a number of different resources for people. We provide what is called CCR funds, consumer care resources. And what that is that it helps with light bills, it helps with rental assistance, it helps with putting children in summer camps. All of those things we prepare and we get that are grant funded so that we can assist our communities here in the event that they are experiencing some of these things and some of these crises. What my crisis might be will not be the same for everyone else, and vice versa. So our agenda is to strengthen our community in that effort, and then to also just assist populations with things like housing authorities as well. We are partnered with 988 Crisis Lifeline. We are partnered with NAMI. We are partnered with American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and we are hoping that we can have this resolution to proclaim September as the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Thank you so much. Let's get Mr. Brandon Browning up. If you would you be so kind as to read that resolution?
Thank you so much, Ms. Lewis. Of course, we're a little late on this, halfway through September, but obviously the storm kind of put us back a little bit. But here I go with the proclamation. And pay attention to these statistics because they're rather disturbing. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the second leading cause of death among individuals between 10 and 34 years old. According to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, one individual in the United States dies by suicide every 11 minutes, resulting in around 48,000 deaths each year in the United States. Suicide is the 14th leading cause of death in Louisiana and the third leading cause of death for Louisiana ages between 10 and 24 and 25 and 34. The suicide rate in Louisiana has increased by 39.3% over the past 20 years. According to the CDC, many factors contribute to suicide among individuals with or without known mental health conditions, including challenges related to relationships, substance abuse, physical health, and stress regarding work, money, legal problems, and housing. Deaths by suicide can be prevented with early intervention. Every September, mental health advocates, prevention organizations, survivors, allies, and community members unite to promote suicide prevention awareness. Suicide is an issue that has impacted many Livingston Parish families. Now, therefore, I, of course, our parish president, Randy Dillette of Livingston Parish, State of Louisiana, do by here proclaim that suicide is a serious public health problem, and I express my support by proclaiming September as Suicide Prevention Month.
Is there a motion by this council to adopt that resolution? Motion by Mr. Mangus, second by Mr. Dean Coates. Any more discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Ardy?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
That motion carried unanimous. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much for coming to speak. Item 10, I'm sorry, item 11 and 12, I'm sorry, item 12, the adoption of ordinance setting the millage rate for the library. Is that one being pulled, or are we, Sandy, still, or? Mr. Goff, do you know?
So as it was set and we discussed before, we would take no action.
You want to turn your mic on? Turn your mic on?
As it was stated before, that we would take no action if the libraries did what they needed to do, and they did. But I would ask that your statement earlier, if you can come to the mic, please. I just want to make sure I understood what you said, is that there was some confusion. So instead of it being at 7.75, now it is going to be at 7.53. What happened?
Something was supposed to be advertised, and it wasn't properly advertised. So I don't know if it was one or two publications it was supposed to be put into, but the legislative auditor called us and said, called the director and said that it had to be brought down to 7.53 this year because of the paperwork not being filed. The assessor knows about it, and the board was made aware of it.
So I know you are on the board, Mr. Steve's on the board. Is any other board members here? And I guess what I'm asking is because we have a weird opportunity to fix that if we go ahead and set it ourselves tonight at 7.75, or we can just take no action and it'll stay at 7.53. So has there been any discussion amongst the board members that it's just going to stay at 7.53 and we're just going to?
The email that we received earlier today is 7.53.
Okay.
The assessor said they can't not do anything about it. It's too late, I know.
Yeah, we actually could, because we've advertised and done everything here with the intentions if.
Is this the first you're hearing about it?
Yes. I heard some discussion about it earlier today. I didn't know exactly what the reasoning was, but it's an advertisement. I thought it was advertised in the Livingston paper and everything.
They said that a new law had came up and it was supposed to be advertisement because of the size of the parish and everything, from my understanding.
Sorry.
The Advocate.
Oh, it should have been in the Advocate as
also,
well.
yes.
Okay.
So you knew about it too.
I learned about it today as well, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
So.
If I can,
So I'll just say take no action.
if I can say something.
Turn your mic on, John.
Mr. Cascio, would we be allowed as a parish council to move it to 7.75?
The ordinance I'm looking at in my packet has it listed at 7.53. So that's how it was ran and advertised.
If you look at the next one, it's the whole thing where you gotta do two of them. You gotta
Yes,
roll it back
there's
to
two.
7.53, then you roll it back forward. We absolutely have.
Turn
the
your mic on,
opportunity-
Ricky.
Ricky?
That particular ordinance is because that's what we gotta do with the rest of them. We gotta roll them back, then roll them back forward. So we actually have the opportunity, as crazy as it is, because of everything that went on, to set it at 7.75. So I'm
Correct.
just asking you, do you think that's what we should do based on the emails that you got, or we just leave it at 7.53?
No one came up with any kind of feedback on it. Everybody just kind of accepted the way that it was. From my understanding, Mr. Yes.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, they could roll it back forward next year, so.
Yes, yes.
My just session.
They already are doing their budget.
she said that we would work on the budget at 7.53.
It's,
I can promise you
understand.
there's not a problem with them not meeting their budget numbers, et cetera, at 7.53 based on the figures that I've seen.
So do you want to move forward with this, or do you want to just pull it?
if I
Go ahead, Mr. Mangus.
we made them a promise if they would lower it, and they lowered it a
Yes.
great deal. I mean, I don't have a problem with trying to make a motion to, as long as it's legal, to do the 7.53 and then the second one to raise it to the 7.75. If it doesn't pass, at least we've honored our, as a parish council.
Well, I tell you what, if y'all want to consider that, it's the adoption of an ordinance. It needs to be read by title. So let's knock that out the way, and then we can decide whether or not y'all want to move forward. Is that okay,
Okay,
Sandy?
thank you.
Turn your mic on. Yep.
When it was discovered that the library board and the director was going to go with what the suggestion was of the parish council, we did not advertise in the Advocate because it is so expensive. So we made the one for our official journal, but we did not advertise for the Advocate because of the assumption
The
that
cost. Yeah,
library
that would be
board-
changing.
Exactly. We didn't want to have to pay for something if it was already going to be. So,
I make a motion to take no action on that.
thank you.
All right, with motion by Mr. Goff, we'll just, if there's no opposition, I'll just pull that item from the agenda. It's pulled, and so item 13, adoption of LP ordinance to levy the adjusted millage rates for the library. Again, you want to do the same thing on that as Ricky? That item will be pulled. Item 14, adoption of LP ordinance setting the millage rates as adjusted for the tax year 2024. Ms. Sandy, you want to read this one by title? That's it? That's the smartest title, shortest title I've ever seen. I believe we've all had copies of those, and I think the Finance Committee talked about that during the Finance Committee, didn't you, John? Yes. And y'all recommended to approve those as they were listed?
Not exactly. What we made a resolution, that was Mr. Erdy, Mr. Watts, Mr. Goff, and myself, was that parish alimony inside, we would go to 1.16 mils. Parish alimony outside, we'd go to 2.32 mils. The health unit, we would lower from 2.5 to 1.5. And parish road maintenance, construction, drainage, that we would go to 5.
5. So is that a motion to adopt that ordinance?
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Mangus. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Jordy. Any discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer? Yes. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right, this will be a two-part ordinance because now that was the setting of the millages. Now we need the ordinance to adopt the levy and adjust these millages rates after the reassessment roll forward. Ms. Sandy, you want to read that one by title?
This is an ordinance to levy adjusted millage rates after reassessment roll forward the millage rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum rate for the tax year 2024.
Is there a motion for that? It's a motion by Mr. Watts, second by Mr. Mangus. Any discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Wascom.
Yes.
Mr. Goff. Mr. Coates.
Yes.
Mr. Watts.
Yes.
Mr. Artie.
Yes.
Mr. Mangus.
Yes.
Mr. Shavers.
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
All right, that motion carried. Item 16, adoption of LP ordinance, an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 subdivision regulations, Section 125-51 subdivision without improvements. Ms. Sandy, you want to read this by title?
This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 subdivision regulations, Article 4 subdivisions without improvements, Section 125-51 submittals, and Sections 125-52 procedures with subdivisions without improvements by deleting the sections in their entirety of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Livingston.
All right, this item was placed on the agenda. It was, the council voted at the last council meeting to introduce. Tonight, it's on the agenda for adoption. This was placed by Mr. Ryan Shavers. You want to take just a minute and tell us what this ordinance is, Mr. Shavers?
Yeah, I'll start off by reading what the definition in our Code of Ordinances, what it exactly reads. Subdivision without improvements means the division of a lot, tract, or parcel of land into 10 lots or more when the ODS does not intend to construct a road, highway, street, alley, any utilities that include but are not limited to sewer, water, or gas. So that's the explanation, and I make a motion to adopt it.
And that would be to
remove it out of the Code of Ordinances.
Adopt that ordinance and take that section out of the
Correct.
Code of Ordinances. Is there a second? All right, there's no second.
I'll second.
Oh, had a second by Mr. Dean Coates. All right, any discussion?
Yes, Ryan, can you explain this a little more, please?
Yeah, so...
Mr. Shavers, I'm sorry. my bad.
That's okay. I spoke to our planning executive, Jerome, and so basically what this ordinance is, currently as it is a developer can develop in Livingston Parish 10 lots or more and not have to construct a road, utility, sewer, water, anything of that nature. So in my brain, and again, we took it to the ordinance for a public hearing. We're here now for a public hearing.
Is 10 lots or more? I was trying to
It is 10 lots or more. Yes.
So this is not the minor reset.
Correct. So I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, talked to Jerome. Jerome said, "Yep, I think that's a good idea." And so we kind of worked on it together. And I talked to my planning commission member about it, just to kind of include him. And he's on board with it. So that's kind of the explanation.
Do we have anybody from the Planning Commission here?
Ms. Sarah, do you know about this?
Only from the ordinance meeting.
Okay.
Oh, well, let me clarify. I talked to my planning commission member, not the planning commission. Okay.
Sarah Ferris.
I think you already answered my question, but question and a couple of comments. So my question was if you had talked to Mr. Jerome and if that flanged up with the overall overhaul of the development code that WSP is supposed to be working on. So it sounds like he's good with it, and that's the case. So
yes,
the code as a whole needs a tremendous amount of work. So if that is cohesive with what they're doing, then that was kind of my question.
It is.
And then just a couple of other comments. So it's deleting the two sections, but there's a few other references throughout to subdivisions without improvements. I think 125, 81, and 91 maybe. So I don't know if that's something that we need to also consider, just any other references wherever it's made to clean that up as well.
You said for your, and I'm pulling it up now, but 125 what?
Yeah, I looked it up earlier today and I just didn't write it down.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me, but I think
okay.
there's 2 or 3 other references where it's just kind of called out in language in other sections. So just some cleanup that maybe needed.
Yeah, I think Ricky Goff also is working, and I don't mean to call him out, but he's working on some minor subdivision ordinances to really just kind of make it a lot more sense.
Yeah. And that's all an effort that we're kind of pulling together with WSP?
Oh, for sure. I did.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
All right, that's all I can do.
Let me ask a quick question, and if you don't mind.
Stay or go?
No, if you can stay, just because you might be able to help answer. If I have a parish road or a state road, and there is, say, it has 10 acres on if it joins, and I want to cut the 10 acres up into 10 lots, or say 11 lots. It's on the state highway, and there's already utility running there. There's already water and sewer and drainage ditch. And you want to divide it up, this would prohibit that? Because you're not building the road's already there. You're not laying electricity, you're not laying water or sewer because it's already there. It would just keep you from dividing. Is that what this ordinance does?
This is for new development being built in the parish that doesn't allow any more development to have no roads, no utilities, none of that. It doesn't that doesn't affect what's currently there. This is, from what I've spoken to with Jerome, and maybe Sarah can help me, this is for anything that's constructed on Parish Road.
Mr. Goff?
Actually, push the button. So to answer your direct question, you would not be asking for this particular coverage because you already have improvements. So you are subdividing property and they do have improvements, a road or sewer or drainage or water. But if that same property went down into the acreage and you had lots on each side, this allows you to do that without improvements. Again, just like this 40-foot to 60-foot, we should always err on the side that somebody's going to need blacktop down there. And if we're going to allow somebody to subdivide that many lots, 10 lots or more, then they should put a road in and do improvements. And this is basically saying that they can't. What Mr. Ryan is referring to is the minor subdivide of property under 10 lots is also allows you to go in there and subdivide it out at 9 lots. Put a gravel road or inferior blacktop road, sell those lots to individuals, and then they end up down the road with a road that they actually own. It's a private road, but they want the parish to fix it. So my intention is just to redo that as well and make 9 lots or 12 lots or whatever it is with improvements and require them to do a drainage plan. They may not have to do a drainage study, but they got to tell us what they're going to do with that water.
And this only applies to 10 lots or more, correct?
It's 10 lots or more right now. This is bad.
Okay, I see what you're saying. This is Mr. Watts.
I think you'd asked the question, and I'm concerned about this state highway. You come there and you buy a 10-acre tract and it runs down the highway instead of deep. Are you allowed to develop that? You see what I'm saying? There's no road, like John said, there's no road. The utilities are already on the front.
There's a
just
main
take
road.
I mean, just Highway 16. If you want to come there and you bought a 10-acre tract and it's
road front.
10 acres and it breaks down, can they still do that?
According to, I don't think so. I don't think so.
They can file as a subdivided. Because of moratorium, they would have a problem. But in any other aspect, they wouldn't have to file under this with 10 lots or more without improvements. They could just file subdividing that property into 10 lots, showing the road as they're and showing the drainage and showing the services are provided. So they would meet all the criteria of a subdivide with improvements. This allows them to do it without improvements. And it's not designed to be, the same concept doesn't even have to apply. It doesn't have to be a state road. It can be a parish road. It can be on a road going down and you got 10 lots. Well, you got a blacktop road to get in your driveway. You got water, you got drainage. You got water and you do the drainage impact deal and move on. They would not apply under this particular piece. This allows someone to subdivide a piece of property in 10 lots or more and basically put a gravel road down.
We've got to turn your mic off, Lonnie. We got a question by Mr. Coates.
I just have a statement, actually. I've spoken to Miss Allen
earlier today to ask her questions regarding this particular agenda item, and she said it is very rare that she couldn't even hardly remember the last time that they utilized subdivisions without improvements, and she assured me that this would not affect anything in their office moving forward. So I just want to let y'all know that for the planning department.
All right, is there any more comments? We have a motion by Mr. Shaver, second by Mr. Coates. None being? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Wascom?
No.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
No.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right, that motion carries, I believe, correct? Yes, all right. Next item on the agenda is adoption of LP ordinance to update the code enforcement by amending general provisions, general penalty for violation of code separation. Ms. Sandy, you want to read this by title?
This is proposed ordinance 2427. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 1, General Provisions, Section 1-8, General Penalty for Violation of Code, Separate Offenses of the Code of Ordinances in and for the Parish of Livingston.
All right, this item, we had introduced this one at the last council meeting. Mr. Taylor had worked hard on this. This tonight is for the adoption. I know it's two different ones, 17 and 18. Mr. Taylor, can you explain this first one real quick?
Yes, this what this does is this is the first ordinance it gives the compliance department the authority to act within their
Scope of
work on behalf of the parish on our ordinances. So if we have, somebody that hasn't cut their grass in a year and they've gave them certified mail, they're not getting the certified mail. This allows them to be able to go onto the property, knock on the door, and give them a summons.
All right.
So,
A motion to adopt.
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion to adopt that ordinance. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Mangus. Any discussion? None being. Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers is absent. Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right. The second one, adoption of LP ordinance. Ms. Sandy, you want to read that title 24-28?
A long one. This is proposed ordinance 24-28. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 74, Vegetation, Article 4, Grass, Weeds, Brush, Debris, and Trash by amending Section 74-89, Notice to Abate Nuisance, Penalty for Noncompliance, Section 74-91, Right of Parish to Abate Nuisance, Recover Costs from Owner, Section 74-92, Extensions of Time in which to abate nuisance or health hazards, Section 74-93, Refusal of Certified Mail, and Section 74-95, Administration and Enforcement of the Code of Ordinances in and for the Parish of Livingston.
All right. Real quick, is there a motion by Mr. Taylor to adopt this?
I'd like to make a motion.
Second by Ricky Goff. Mr. Taylor, you want to describe this one for us?
Yes, so what this does is this just the same as last, but this gives the more detail on being able to give a written notice instead of just by certified mail. It also gives the compliance officer the discretion to be able to say you have 1 day, you have 15 days, you've got 30 days. And they can give that discretion as needed. Or more.
Oh, so it's not limited.
It's not limited. So they're more than willing to work with the individual to get whatever's going on accomplished and follow underneath our ordinances.
Blighted property or,
Yes.
or anything like that. All right, a motion by Mr. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Goff. Any discussion from the audience? Any from the council? None being. Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right, item 19, adopt a resolution to name an unnamed road. I believe this one's being pulled.
No.
No,
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I'm sorry, the next one is. Go ahead. District 9, CC Road, huh, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair?
the man just got about 20 acres there, and he constructed a road down. It's out in the country, and he doesn't want to be maintenance by the parish. He just wants a red sign there for emergency purposes. He
And
wants
911.
911, etc. He has police, whatever, ambulance. And he just wants it JJ Street. Just a sign there with that name on it.
Okay, it says, Old CC Road in council, want to be JJ Street. Is that what it is?
That's what it is, yes.
Motion by Mr. Joe Artie,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Taylor. Is that good, Joe?
Yes.
Mr. Artie? All right. And any more discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carried unanimous. Adopt a resolution to request DPW to place a school zone sign and change the speed limit to 15 miles per hour with flashing lights on Cecil Drive in Mr. Shaver's district. Right, Mr. Shavers.
Yeah, it's just really quick. This is, I've got a parish road that's got 2 schools on it, Live Oak Middle and South Live Oak. Jason Ard called me and just kind of gave recommendation saying, look, I think it would really benefit the people on this road if you put a school zone in. He and I kind of looked at it, and I spoke to the residents in that area. I think I've got some here tonight. I do have some here tonight that kind of want to express their concern in hopes to getting this passed and working with Robert. But if Kim wants to come up just for a couple of minutes to just kind of give a few comments.
Okay, give us your name and address, please.
Kimberly Brenniger, 8301 Cecil Drive, Denham Springs, Louisiana, 70706. I will tell you I'm happy that the whole neighborhood didn't come because they wanted to.
I'm glad for that.
I know. I was trying to keep everybody at bay.
Thank you.
The speeding in our area and on our highways in this quiet, quaint neighborhood that has children, has elderly, that ride bikes, it's becoming a huge issue. Right now, the speed limit is 20 miles per hour. We have had head-on collisions that have totaled vehicles out, injured people. We have had vehicles flipped into people's yards from accidents. And we've also had school buses that have gone off the road and taken a few trees and made the side of their bus an accordion. We love our neighborhood. I really hope that y'all support this. It's not the fact that they're doing 25 or 35 or 45. They're doing 60 and higher. It's sad. We have contacted and also had a meeting with Sheriff Ard at one of the schools in the last couple months. He did inform us that they would be writing tickets, enforcing the laws. Not one ticket has been issued. We have seen law enforcement presence that stays at the school. We've also seen a unit that was parked by Harrison Canal that runs through our neighborhood, but no action's being taken. And we need to fix this before it continues to be an issue and someone gets hurt. There are other people that do not live in our neighborhood that come to ride bikes, to walk their dogs. We have doctors that come, dentists, just to be able to enjoy because it's just a horseshoe, and we want that to be safe. So I ask y'all to please support this.
Thank you. Robert, do you need anything? I hate to call you out of the back, but do you need anything from me to...
You could be seated. Pardon?
Add to it. I don't know if we needed to address adding more. You know, you talked about the flashing school zone. There's 3 streets. I think they would all fit into the area that needs to be covered as far as the school zone. So I was just going to mention that since Ryan had just listed one.
Yep, let me find out from...
Thank you so much.
So just so you know, I think the ordinance had about changing the 15.
The resolution.
The resolution. Okay, the ordinances already say in a school zone there's a specific speed limit. So all we need to really do is address where is that school zone, and that's where that zone would start. As far as the flashing lights, we don't normally do that. Those are usually put up by the state or by the school board. So, we don't have any of those.
I need to go with the school board to get that sign.
The flashing sign. So we don't usually, because they maintain those.
What's the footage requirement?
So whatever if y'all want to do Highway 16, it doesn't matter. There's nothing in the ordinance that says how far it is. It just says within that school zone, that is the speed limit.
Okay.
So y'all can establish it at certain times, or you can just leave it, so whatever the school zone is, whatever y'all adopt as the school zone, whether it's 24 hours a day or I think it's 7 to 9 and 2 to 4 is where a bunch of them do it. But the ordinance says that's whether a sign is posted or not, that's the school zone, once that school zone is established.
So, because I was under the impression that to do the school zone, we had to go through the DPW to kind of.
I can put any sign you want up there.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, unless the council says the speed limit on this road is X, or this is a school zone from here to here, then the ordinance takes over. Whether the signs, you know what I'm saying? So if y'all want all of Cecil Drive 15 miles an hour, all you got to do is make a resolution to say Cecil Drive's 15.
Okay.
We go change the signs out.
I'll get with the school
If you
board
want
on
to
the
go by
flashing.
the school zone ordinance or the ordinance, the speed limit ordinance in the parish ordinances, you set the school zone, and then that zone is that speed limit anytime, whether the sign's there or not.
Mm-hmm.
When the school's in
It's what you said. If you say it's the school zone is 24 hours a day.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Unless you specifically say in a resolution, this school zone is from 7 to 9, 2 to 4.
Or 24 hours.
Or 24 hours.
All right, we had a question by Mr. Watts real quick.
Ryan, have you considered Olivia tied in this? Because, I mean, really, you come out of the school and you take a right and you right down on Olivia.
And again, it's whatever, I would recommend y'all go from a certain distance. If you're going to set a zone, go a certain distance from the property line of the school. That's a hard number. That property line is never going to change. So if it's, let's just say 500 foot from the property line, we'll go measure it off. Wherever it falls out, that's where it's at.
Yeah, I'm sitting here reading Section B. Subject to the restrictions imposed by Section 46-44, where there are no signs posted indicating speed limits, which there are, it's the speed limit applicable to the parish street or roadway outside of incorporated municipalities shall be 15 miles per hour, except in recognized subdivisions, provided, however, the maximum speed limit on any. Okay, so I just need to get, you guys can change the speed limit and put the school zone signs. I just, if the flashing signs are required, I got to go to school.
Yeah, the flashing signs, that we don't put those up.
Gotcha.
Mr. Coates, you had a question?
Yes, I just have
Mike.
Sorry. I just have a question. I believe, I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't recall your name. Kim. Miss Kim had said that people run up there 70 miles an hour. Is that what you said? 60 or above? Okay. And what is the current speed limit? 20? Which we have an ordinance that covers. Okay. So I'm not sure what we're hoping to accomplish here. If people are driving 60 miles an hour through this roadway and we reduce it to 5, 10, or 2 miles an hour, they're still going to drive 60. Have you contacted the sheriff's office?
Robert,
Okay.
you can sit down. Robert, if you come back to the mic, because evidently we got. Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
All I'm trying to say is I don't think that lowering the speed limit is necessarily the solution to your problem.
Yeah, I don't have an issue if it stays at 20. We just need more attention brought to it's a school zone. We need the flashing lights. We need more signs. We have children at play signs at the beginning of the neighborhood, but nobody pays attention. That gives them the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's an enforcement issue. We do need signage, and it's not just for Cecil. Cecil gets most of the heavy traffic, but it's Blades and Olivia, the whole neighborhood.
Let me just say this for the record, just for clarity. Olivia,
finish?
it's a U-shaped. Right, Olivia goes and
It's a
turns into
horseshoe.
Cecil. So you've got Olivia starts off of Highway 16, it goes around, and then it comes, and then on the corner you've got Live Oak Middle, South Live Oak on Cecil. And that's 2 schools. With 1 school, we have school zones. We have 2 schools on a parish road with no school zone at all. So my goal in doing this is saying, not only should we do it for 1, but we for sure should do it for 2 schools. And so that was kind of the intent behind it. Now, the speed limit, I'm not the sheriff. I don't enforce speed. But I've talked to some residents on that road, you and a couple of other ones, and they agree. Changing the speed limit isn't going to do anything, but if we don't try something, and I'll be sure to stay in contact with Jason and make sure that he's got somebody out there enforcing, because it's not just residents. People that live down there go to school. It's the school buses. It's I agree.
One thing also, state statute, we have a law about no passing in the school zone. In our area, you have people passing, whether it be the line backs up, it can only go so far. People go around that, they're doing, and I'm not complaining about that, they have to do what they have to do to get the buses in. But that is a law that's being broken. That's.
Yep. Mr. Taylor, I believe, had a question.
Can we put speed bumps? I mean, it's in a neighborhood, right?
We would love that.
Can we put speed bumps?
It's a parish road. It's not technically, I guess it's not technically a subdivision. Let's be clear.
Jones Estates.
It's Jones Estates, but because you have public schools on the road, I don't know if that clarifies it as a official subdivision. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
Do they have an HOA, ma'am?
We do not have an identified HOA, but we do have rules, but they were back in the 80s and they're very vague.
If it's a covenant, it stays into a covenants forever until it's pulled out.
Yeah, but it's
Correct.
it's
my statement
vague.
on that is many subdivisions, not as much in Livingston Parish, but in other parishes such as St. Tammany and Jefferson, the HOAs will hire.
We do not have that type of HOA.
They can hire a deputy.
Yeah, we don't collect money.
They will write tickets.
Well, the deputies are
let's
already
let Robert
there.
answer my question. We'll just.
I'm sorry.
Let's let Robert answer my question so I can figure that out.
Yeah, have a seat there. Let me get Robert.
I have had a couple of councilmen already reach out to me about this. I would
speed
definitely.
You're talking about speed bumps, right?
Speed bump, speed hump, speed.
Whatever you call
every
it.
name I could.
Potholes.
I would caution you on that. That is a liability nightmare. Any small sports car is going to hit bottom out, and we're going to get Mr. Cascio or whoever will definitely make his money on lawsuits. Okay, so I know they have them in Baton Rouge. There's just a bunch of liability with that. I would just caution that. It
was just a question to see if
it can be done. It
can be done, but it's a liability.
But it's a liability.
Okay.
We had Mr. Goff. You're in the queue.
Yeah, I had basically the same suggestion. This particular road is really long and it's straight, so it's a neighborhood, but it's really basically it's a parish road. I think it's a mile and a half long or further. I'm 100% behind the speed humps. I've crossed them in Baton Rouge, etc. Mr. Dugas and I have had discussions about this, and I would just ask that we as a council possibly allow Mr. Dugas to research. And what I combat that with is, as long as you have a speed hump that is certified from a state highway, what is it I'm looking for? The Federal Highway Administration gives its blessing on this particular speed hump, then they have approved that to be on the roadway. That's one. And two, any particular vehicle that should be taken into consideration, like whenever it's built and designed and the height and all that stuff, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll give Mr. Brad all the ammunition that he needs. I don't think we need to go crazy with it, but I definitely think that there is a place for it, because what Mr. Dean Coates says is the same thing. I'm 100% behind the school zone part, because it elevates the citation whenever it is done and it brings it to the forefront. But at the same time, if we put the speed humps, and in this particular case, it would take probably at least 3 of them, and that's like at 500 something feet apart. But at least it would be a continuous deterrent 24/7 for anyone that travels that road. And I would like to say that if we, if there's a road that has to meet a certain criteria, if we put speed humps in, like it needs to be X amount of length, straight, residents and things of that nature. But I have another one in my particular neighborhood, and that's why I call Mr. Dugas. And I also brought up yours. So
Ryan, would you jump on that and see if we can get what Mr. Ricky's saying, a federal height of what that could be, how big, and maybe get those installed?
So I don't know. I don't know.
Can you put in words your a motion, a resolution, kind of a way of something that you'd like maybe see us take action on?
I think the residents in that area would really, really appreciate speed bumps and love it. But I go and think about, again, back to the liability part of it and those school buses that drive on that road. It would most definitely slow them down. But
this is not a speed bump. It's a speed hump. So I just want to make sure there is a big difference between a speed bump and a speed hump.
Yeah.
A speed hump is in a...
Can you elucidate
I think
the
it
difference?
transitions. It's a transition to the road. The hump is.
It is like a 6 to 8 foot pattern, and it goes up and over. It is like no difference if you go over a peak crossing over an intersection.
Okay.
Like you're going to just slow down a little bit.
Let me do this. Kim, can you call a meeting with the residents down there and pull them all together, and let's have a little HOA meeting and talk about it before I do anything? Yeah.
I can definitely do that. I really wish that we could at least get some of the signage in place for the time being. If at all possible, and then if we have to revisit this.
I do agree that the speed limit, the school zone needs to go into effect, but I think the speed humps would do away with having to lower the speed limit. I could be wrong.
Even if you had to keep it at, we're at 20. So, but I think that if we could get it passed, at least to get some signage up.
Signage for the school zone?
Signage for the school zone and the flashing light. That way, everybody coming in there at least is aware and knows that we're serious, instead of us being flipped off and cussed out.
Robert, do you handle the school zone? You don't have to come back up, but do you handle the school zone signs, not the flashing ones? Oh, mine's on. Do you handle the school zones, just the sign, not the flashing ones?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Do you want it 500, 1,000, 1,500? How far you want it? That's what all I need. You tell me how far you want it. Do you want all of Cecil Drive, all of Olivia? You set the zone, I'm going to put the sign up.
I think, going back to Lonnie...
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
You can ask the sheriff for a traffic study and go for both. Maybe think about going for both, because the fines in a school zone are much higher than they are in a non. So you've got the school zone, the flashing lights. Do both, the school zone and the speed humps. I've got people in my district begging for speed humps right now, and have for a while, and I'll research it and go down that road with you. But both would help the sheriff's office write the tickets.
Yeah.
And enforce that. A stiff ticket in a school zone is not fun.
Yeah.
So,
Mr.
just
Joe,
a suggestion.
you had a question? Mr. Joe,
yeah, Robert, I know we're talking about the school board system and all this involved. Do we need to go through the school board to get
for
this
the lights?
done?
The only thing we don't do the lights. I
do the
can go
lights.
put a school zone sign up wherever y'all tell me to. And from that point, that's a school zone. It has to come from the council because it can be a citable offense, so it has to come maybe by
you
an
can
ordinance,
put the
because the
lights
ordinance
up.
is law, right? Or is it a resolution?
What's that?
If they're gonna be cited because of it, does it have to be an ordinance or a
Does the
resolution?
school zone have to be an ordinance, or can it be a resolution like a regular?
To put the sign out?
No.
Yes.
For them, I guess,
To be
to
enforceable.
write a ticket, always
gotta be
has
an
to be
ordinance.
ordinance.
Correct.
So as I'm saying, the school zone can't be, for them to get cited in a school zone, it has to be an ordinance, is my understanding.
Okay, what I'm,
Correct?
Correct. I mean, but the
So he
school-
say, so to put the sign up is a resolution,
that's-
no problem, but that's what I'm saying is, we kind of get in the cart ahead of the horse.
Let me just do this. Hold on just a second. Let's have a meeting. Let's have an HOA meet or a meeting with the subdivision, and let's talk it out amongst them. I can either put the school zone in via ordinance and it's official, or I can just put signs up and it's not. The sheriff is not going to give them a ticket for speeding in the school zone because it's not officially by ordinance if I do this resolution. So I think we just need to talk with the residents and let's
Now,
just.
Ryan, I think we went and put school, didn't put school zone, we just put school, some signs up.
Yeah.
So that we've already done that, or we have the work, I know I signed a work order.
For this situation?
Yeah.
How
remember
many do
and
you
I
have?
talked- we did it on Olivia and Cecil.
Okay.
We didn't say school zone, it was just a warning, yellow warning sign says school,
Okay.
to kind of, to get some more signage out there.
Okay.
Robert, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
To get the signs up, the flashing signs rather, I'm sorry, do you have to come back to us or you can go straight to the school board?
I don't know how that works. Yeah, you'd have to go, the school board would have to do that, not me.
Okay, that's what
Yes, sir.
that's it, okay.
All right, is there any kind of resolution, you want to just pull this and wait till you have a meeting?
Are you okay with me just pulling it for now and let's just talk with them and then we'll come back?
I don't like it, but whatever you feel is the best. I did some research, and I have not found where any school has like what we're trying to do for these two and have it labeled school zone. Do we have ordinance out there that says Denham Springs school zones this, Walker school zones?
No. So what Robert is saying is, so let's just say let's just use Cecil Drive this as an example. So in order to enforce the school zone by ordinance and by law, I have to sponsor that and get it passed so that it's officially a school zone. Now we can put up the signs, we can put flashing signs, but it's not by law, it's not a school zone. So people are just going to continue to speed by there. My recommendation, this is just my recommendation, and I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. But my recommendation is let me talk to the residents and let them give me some feedback. And let's see how they feel about the speed humps, changing the speed limit, and officially making it a school zone by law. Because I think if somebody gets cited for speeding in a school zone, I ain't going to do it twice. I'll do it one time and that's it. Because the tickets are much more expensive, yeah. So if you'll let me do that and schedule something with y'all to just sit down and meet and just kind of get feedback from other residents, I think that would be beneficial too. But again, I don't want to disregard what you're saying because you want to just get something in place now, but I think that would just kind of defeat the purpose.
Yeah,
as
and
of
it's
now.
just from us. I mean, we're impatient only because
I know.
we've been fighting with this for years with the sheriff's office and no enforcement for the
And
20
I'll ask
miles per
Jason
hour.
Ard to come as well. I think we can all.
Yeah,
I
and
think
he met with us within the last 2
Yeah.
months, a neighborhood meeting.
We can have him. I'll ask him to come as well and get his feedback. He's the one that brought it to my attention along with some other people that live on that road. So if you'll let me just pull this and revisit it with you guys. Our next council meeting is the 26th. I don't think I've got time to put it on the agenda for that meeting, but I think the next one is either the 10th or the 11th. I'm not sure, but it'll definitely be on there. But it'll have to be an ordinance if we decide to go with making it an official school zone.
Okay. and I don't mean to do this, but I did find a minor error in one of the ordinances.
Okay.
And it says 9 p.m. instead of 9 a.m.
I will correct that while we're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, if we decide to do an ordinance, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You'll pull it?
Let's pull it.
All right, let's go on to the next item, adopt a resolution to authorize a waiver, but this is in Mr. Joe Erdy's for David Buren. I think we're going to pull that one. Okay, great. Next item, 22, resolution to authorize a waiver, section 125, 176, to allow a third address for 3-acre tract. Jennifer Krieger, I believe. Is that correct, Mr. Joe?
Yes, that's up North Albany.
Horseshoe Road.
Horseshoe Road, and it's a 3-acre tract of land, and the lady's asking for a third address. And I explained how things are kind of nowadays, but she wanted to come up and speak. Jennifer, please come up.
Is she here?
Yes, she is, to address your means.
All right. Ms. Jennifer.
So all I need is...
Name and address.
Oh, sorry. Jennifer Krieger. I live at 27225 Horseshoe Road, Independence. I'm one of those Independence Livingston addresses that I talked about earlier. So I have 3 acres. My brother-in-law lives on about an acre. I live in the center, and then I have a wooded acre that I would like to clear off and put my eldest son on. He is 23. And has his first baby on the way. And as y'all know, it's very expensive these days. So now where they're living is about $1,200 a month, not counting, his utilities, and they're gonna struggle with a new baby. So also on that acre that is not cleared is a drainage ditch that was there when I bought the property. After 2016, it's now a drainage fund river back there. So there's not even enough room to put more than one little house on it and be done with it. So I just asked for one more address to help my kid.
All right, Mr. Joe, you got this on the agenda. You in favor of this?
I'm going to be in favor of it.
All right, you make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
For a third address.
I'll second it.
So who made that? Billy Taylor? All right, any discussion from the council or from the audience? No input any from the council? None being? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Wascom.
I say yes.
Mr. Goff.
No.
Mr. Coates.
I'm trying.
Mr. Watts.
Yes.
Mr. Erdy.
Yes.
Mr. Mangus.
Yes.
Mr. Shavers.
No.
Ms. Sandifer.
No.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Passed by a majority, 5-4. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You got it. All right, item 23, reconsideration of the industrial tax exemption program of noncompliance for Gator Millworks. Mr. Taylor has really worked hard on this, and I'm just going to turn this over to Mr. Taylor. You got a quick presentation you can make this, or I know you know quick about this.
I can make this quick. So I wanted to put this on here because I want to reconsider my vote on taking the action that we did. We took an act of doing a 1-year reduction in every year of non-compliance. And as I went down the path of everything that was on this side of the government, I actually took upon myself and took Mr. Chad Foster's advice, and I went and saw his facility. I went with Mr. Ricky Goff, Mr. John Mangus, and we really went and saw his facility and saw everything that he was doing and the groundbreaking things that he's actually got inside Livingston Parish. And he is a business that is really bringing in a lot of good business inside this district, inside the Livingston Parish. His initial investment was $7.5 million for all the equipment and everything that he put inside his business. And then after that, he put another $1.3 million in machinery and everything else that did not fall inside the ITEP, which is also what he pays taxes on, and the uses tax. And his projection for Livingston Parish in taxes on those machines, he's well exceeded through that. So I would like to make a motion of taking no action on this, and I would also, with that motion, I would like the council's permission to go with Mr. Foster to the commission board and tell them that the council that wants to take no action.
All right, we had a motion. Is that a motion? Put that in the
That is a
form of
motion.
Is there a second? But before we just, okay, I've got a second. Go ahead.
But, Mr. Taylor, when you say no action, does that mean that what we voted on last time, we're not going to penalize them?
Yes, no action means that we're not going to penalize them the 2 years for non-compliance in this.
How about you word that in your resolution?
Okay, I would.
Yes, right.
I'd like to make a resolution to take no action in penalizing Gator Mill Works the 1 year of non-compliance for each year, and to be able to go with Mr. Foster to the Board of Commissions and tell them that the will of the council is to take no action.
Is that better, John? You feel your second still stands for that?
Yes, my second stands for that. And if I might, I did take him up because of the heartfelt plea of the high school teacher in Walker, and I learned a lot of information. One of the things I learned is that this company, Gator Mill Works, they're not a new company to the parish. They're a company that has been in the parish for a long time. And they chose Livingston Parish to relocate their new incredible facility. And I had chastised them for not meeting the employment requirements, but they will, barring anything unforeseen, meet it this year. So, and we are coming off of a global pandemic that none of us pointy heads in the room predicted. So being in light of that, as a teacher, when I'm wrong, I can admit it. I was impressed.
All right, so your second stand. Is there any more discussion from this council? Mr. Ricky Goff, turn your mic on.
Sorry about that. One quick comment. The biggest thing from my standpoint on why I am 100% behind supporting this, and I'll be happy to accompany you if that's what the council's wishes, to speak on behalf of a local employer in the field that's ridiculous, that I'm crazy. But the biggest thing that happened with this particular company and gentleman is the fact that they had all their documentation and they had gotten all their approvals to do this tax incentive type thing without the job part of it. And then they were ready to break ground and actually kind of purchase the property and was moving forward, and then the 2016 flood came. And sir, please correct me if I'm wrong in any of what I'm about to say, but I think I'm pretty close with it. But 2016 came along and flooded everybody, and everybody knows about the trying to get back. Oh Lord, about trying to get back to some of what we call normal. So during that time, he laid nobody off. He put a lot of people, cabinets back in their homes and things of that nature. But the biggest thing that happened to him, unfortunately, is they had a new governor come along. And the new governor changed the guidelines on that criteria and put this job stipulation on it. So he applied for it and received it and couldn't get it rolling because of 16. New governor came in, added the guidelines. So he went ahead and did what he needed to do. And then COVID come along as well, and he's been growing his business, as Billy said, and actually paying more taxes that are outside that umbrella.
We got a motion in a second?
And we have a new governor that's looking at taking that stipulation off. If we put the penalty, we're not really gaining any taxes, is what I'm trying to tell everybody. It's just pushing the rock down the road. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You good? You done, Ricky? All right, good. I didn't mean to rush you. Let's go ahead and call for the vote, Miss Sandy. You got the resolution. That was clear? Okay. And I hope it goes successful, by the way, Ricky. I hope if you go with Mr. Fulton. I'm sorry, Billy. Ricky is in my mind. Go ahead, call for the vote.
Hang on. And this is for no action? Is that what we're voting on?
No. You want to reword the resolution? It's too long. Can you word that, Sandy? Can you read that?
I'm gonna need to Oh.
It's basically to undo what we did last
Yeah.
one and take no action.
Do not penalize them and by taking.
A
no
resolution to not penalize Gator Mill Works and to take no action and to go to the Board of Commission with him and tell them that the will of the council is to take no action.
All right.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right, that motion passed unanimous. That motion passed unanimous. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Chad. Thank you so much, man. I hope it goes great. Livingston Parish Highway Improvement Committee, this was placed on here by Mr. Shavers. Mr. Ryan.
Very quickly, I'm just going to explain what it was and the intent behind it, so everybody knows. The intention of the Livingston Parish Highway Improvement Committee was to consist of a few parish council members, citizens, potentially state reps, and Department of Public Works. And this was an opportunity for us to unify together and provide updates to the people of Livingston Parish, provide them a platform to come to us and express concerns of areas in their district that may have road problems. I'm one person. I know I can't go to every single road in my district. So this was an opportunity as a platform for them to come and speak. So because of it being a conflict with some, I'm going to pull it for now. But it's still an idea, and it's still a really good thing for this parish to show unity and that we are being transparent and working together to do what we can for the people of this parish. So I'm going to pull it for now.
Thank you. The next item is a board reappointment resignation for Fire District 4. You have that appointment.
I do accept it.
A letter of resignation from
Jeff Easley.
Jeff Easley. Is that a motion to accept the resignation? Is there a second?
Yep.
Second. Who was it? Ms. Sandifer? Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Is there any opposed?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Next item on the agenda is committee reports. Finance Committee, Mr. Mangus. I believe you covered some of it already, didn't you?
I think, gentlemen, Mr. Watts, Mr. Goff, Mr. Erdy, I think we covered it. Mr. Mickey, was it good?
Go ahead. All right. Next item would be the Ordinance Committee, Mr. Coates.
The Ordinance Committee, we had some productive conversations this past Tuesday, and some of the things y'all may have heard tonight. And just encourage everyone to bring their ordinances to the committee so we can hash them out and maybe have a little bit less debate when we come for the council meetings.
All right.
That was a resolution. That, in Mr. Shaver's defense, that was not an ordinance, so that was a resolution. So
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Brad, do you have anything?
Yeah, just real quick. I was going to bring this up at the last meeting, but due to the hurricane, I was unable to do so. At the last meeting we actually conducted, this seat was empty. The following morning, I called each council member as well as the administration to explain what occurred, but I wanted the public to be aware, too, of why the chair was empty. I was in a jury trial prosecuting a bad man that hurt some young people, and I was certain I would have the trial finished before the meeting began. The jury deliberated for just over 7 hours, and while they're in deliberation, sometimes they come out with questions, and so I have to stay in the courthouse, in the courtroom, so I was unable to be here. I don't like for this chair to be empty. It was unfortunate, and I do apologize for that. But we did get a guilty verdict on this, and we're taking him off the street, so it wasn't for nothing.
Good. Listen, let's turn real quick. I know this is not on the agenda, but I think there's some councilmen that have some comments tonight. I know I have something I want to say. Is anyone else?
I do. I've got something.
Mr. Shavers?
I just want to. I got a phone call from Mr. James Wascom, who is the fire chief for Fire District 4. I made a post on social media thanking Chris Anderson for his help in preparing me in Watson for the storm, and I failed to mention how hard the firefighters were working to also prepare us. And so for that, I apologize, and I want to publicly thank them for their endless hard work. Some of them do it for nothing. They volunteer. They work endless hours, and I can't thank them enough, along with the sheriff's office. So I just wanted to say that.
All right, Mrs. Sandifer?
Yes. Okay, so I have a few things. First, let me start with this. Every year, District 5 hosts a trunk or treat. Mr. Bubba Harris is the one that started this trunk or treat after the 2016 flood, so that the children would have a place to trick or treat. It's a trunk or treat at South Park in District 5 on Vincent Road. We're having it this year on October 27th from 6 to 9. It's really taken off really fast. We need people to volunteer to decorate their trunks. We need the kids to come and make it. There's a lot of exciting things coming this year. So that is October 27th from 6 to 8. Now, let me back up to earlier that day. The park itself is going to host something called Jammin' in the Park. This is the first time they're doing it. It's October 27th from 3 to 6 p.m. So that'll segue into trunk or treat. They're going to have a live band, food, music, family fun. I hope you can make it. South Park is, they're doing a lot of work in the park right now. And I hope that you can come out and you can make it and come see. And if you want to sign up for a trunk, call me. My number's on the website. I need trunks. Now, I also want to segue into this, and then I'll be finished. I'm very sorry that Parish President DeLatte was not able to be here to hear what I'm going to say in person. I would really like to say it in person, but I do think that it needs to be said, and I want to let him know these thoughts anyway. I would really like to thank our parish president for leading us through Hurricane Francine and helping the recovery process. I sincerely appreciate his dedication to our residents during that challenging time. I know Parish President DeLatte and I sometimes don't see eye to eye, but I want to assure him that I do want to work hand in hand with him. And while we may not always agree, I want him to know that, or I want everyone to know, as well as Parish President DeLatte, that my intentions are sincere and trying to do what is best for my constituency and my parish. Sincerely.
All right, Mr. Mangus, I believe you had some comments there. Thank you, Ms. Sanford. Thank you. Very good.
Very, very well said. I want to say thank you to the EOC, to Mr. Anderson, Mr. Browning, Mr. Gilbert, obviously, Mr. DeLatte. It was, I know I'm forgetting people, Mr. Bryson. It was really, Mr. Avara. It was very, very enlightening. Thank you for letting me volunteer in the EOC. The fire departments were incredible. Mr. Wascom, Mr. Joe, very, very helpful. Also want to say quick thanks to the sheriff and his office, and the captain did a really wonderful job in responding to every issues we had. And then just for one quick thing, if you like spaghetti and meatballs, Immaculate Conception Men's Club, we only have 2 fundraisers a year. This in Lent, we're selling spaghetti and meatballs at noon, well, from 9 to 10 to 2, sorry, 10 to 2 this Sunday. So if you like spaghetti and meatballs, come by or come see me for a ticket. Thank you.
Mr. Watts, you have something? Well, Mr. Taylor, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, this weekend, this Saturday, they're doing a march in the park at North Park. They're going to have car show, food truck roundup, hot air balloon rides, face painting, all the stuff. And so if you get a chance, come out there and see that. I believe it's from 3 to 7.
Fantastic. Mr. Watts?
Yes, we had the Livingston Parish Fair starting October the 8th and runs through the 13th. 2 nights of rodeo, carnival rides, everything's 87th year. It's been here a while.
All right. I would like to make one more comment. We had this hurricane that came through just recently, and I have a place down on the river, and as I'm standing at the camp, I'm seeing thousands of fish gasping for air and floating, and then I'm seeing pictures on Facebook all up and down the river of fish that have died. And I'm sure on Diversion Canal, I know up and down they admit all the way down. I'm sure you've seen it on Diversion. It's just all over the place. So I reached out to some of our Louisiana delegation, and they've been able to talk to Wildlife and Fisheries. And I proposed that if the council made a resolution just saying, look, can you consider helping certain areas, canals in our parish, rivers, with restocking of fish? They said they would be more than happy to. They would actually appreciate if we would help put that together. So what I'd like to do, but they specified like which canals, which rivers, what types of fish that you saw. So if anyone is watching this on television, or if anyone is here tonight and you know of a certain area where there was a big fish kill, if you would reach out to Miss Caroline, and if you'll start a list of those canals or rivers and then the types of fish. So at the next council meeting, if we could adopt a resolution, they said they would be more than happy to welcome that and get us in a queue to maybe, and if we show them the support of the parish and the people in this parish to help restock our fish that have died in this hurricane, it'd be really good. So if y'all would consider reaching out to Miss Caroline with the rivers, canals, types of fish, and some things, and the next council will put that on a resolution. So, Mr. Watts?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
We get a lot of.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, before you do.
Quit rushing out of here, John.
Hang on. What is the date of the parish? I didn't catch the parish fair date.
It starts at October the 8th and runs through the 13th.
Okay.
We've got the parade the 5th.
I'm sorry, did you have your button mashed? I didn't see your button.
No.
Yeah, 87 years. Hey,
okay,
John, we're giving shout outs, and I think we owe it a little bit to Energy and Demco getting the power back on. I mean, hey,
absolutely.
We was very fortunate. We missed a great deal, but they worked hard. We had about 14,000, 15,000 out in the parish, and in about a 2-3 day time, they got it. So
I was out 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Mr. Joe Erdy.
All right, this will be the third year in a row, and I want to hold this up. This is the annual Hungarian Harvest Dance Festival, 2 weeks from this coming Saturday. And this is just, and you can get to me. My daughter's over there. You can get her online and all that, or contact me in any way you want. But if y'all want to see a tradition, and if y'all want to experience good food and see a dance you've never seen, and just have a long, fun day, y'all try to make this at the Springfield Fire Station on October the 5th. Just come, and all days it's going to be a fun day. Food, plenty of entertainment, and I tell you what, you're going to see something probably ain't never saw before if you haven't ever been. So
I did hear that Bridget's going, and she's going to be part of the dance.
She is?
She did tell me that.
Okay. Okay, well, practice is tomorrow night, wherever you're at. So I can tell you that right. Anybody want to join the dance, let us know. We'll get you twirling and swirling. But y'all consider coming, because it is really good. I'm just telling y'all. So just want y'all to know.
At the risk of being accused of rushing the meeting.
Yeah.
Is there, I hate to say it, is there anyone who wants to make a motion to adjourn? Or? Oh, someone else? Mr. Goff, go ahead. You got the floor. Take all night, Ricky.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Oh, everybody got to be fun.
See there, John?
Go ahead, Ricky. We're good.
Randy locked the door.
So I would like to support all of my fellow councilmen that have all of these activities and ask Mr. Brandon, if you would, on the new parish app, if you could get this information and push it out to everyone for the fair and for the Hungarian, and the fact that Ms. Bridget's going to be there, etc. I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That's it. I'm done.
I'll
make a motion that we adjourn.
Oh, motion by Mr. Goff to adjourn. Second by Mr. Mangus. Is there any more discussion? None being, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carried unanimously. I declare this meeting.